Next, we will learn many of the shortcuts, tools, and methods to deal with columns and rows in Excel. And literally, all of these tools can be done using the mouse and have a shortcut using the keyboard only. So let's begin with selecting columns and rows. To select a column, we can, using the mouse, selecting the name of these columns or a single column. The same goes for rows. We can select the row by clicking on its name or its index, or grab multiple rows using the mouse. And as a shortcut using the keyboard, we first need to select the cells of the columns that we want to select, and then press Ctrl space. And for selecting the rows using the keyboard, we first need to select the range of cells from the rows we want to select, and then press Shift and space. Now let's go for adding and removing columns. To add a new column, we can right click on the column that we want to insert a column to the left of it, and we select insert. And the same for the rows, we can click on the row that we want to insert a row above it, and we right click and select insert. And to remove these new column and new row we added, we can right click, and instead of insert, we can select delete. And the same for this new added row, we can right click on it and select delete. And using the keyboard as a shortcut to add and remove these rows and columns, we first need to select the column that we want to add a column to the left of it, and we can press Ctrl and plus. And the same for adding new row, we first select the row that we want to add a row above it, and we can press Ctrl and plus sign. And to remove these newly added row and column, we can first select it and press Ctrl and minus. And for the new added row, it's the same. We can press Ctrl and minus to remove it. For adding and removing rows and columns, we can use a combination between the shortcut to select the rows and columns and the shortcut to add and remove rows and columns. So to add a new column without using the mouse completely, we can go for any column we want to add another column to the left of it, and we can press Ctrl space and then Ctrl plus to add this newly column without using the mouse completely. And the same goes for removing this column by pressing Ctrl and minus. And the same thing for the rows. If I want to, for example, add a row above the row number 8, I can go for any cell in that row, press Shift space followed by Ctrl plus. And to remove it, I can again go to that newly added row, press Shift space and then Ctrl minus. Next, we will learn how to make a duplicate of an existing column or transfer it completely. So to make a duplicate of an existing column, first we need to select it and press Ctrl C and right click for the place we want to insert a copy of it and select insert copied cells. As we can see now, we have two copies of the column named model. If I undo this step, instead of copying it, if I want to transfer it completely, I can select this column again, but now instead of Ctrl C, I can press Ctrl X to cut these cells and right click for the place I want to transfer it and select insert cut cells. As we can see, we still have one model column but in different position. And just an important note, if I, instead of right click and selecting insert copied or cut cells, if I instead paste these values or these columns immediately, it will overwrite the existing columns. So as an example, if I again selected the model column, Ctrl C, and I go for the J column and press Ctrl V or right click paste, as we can see, it override the existing column that was, I believe, the owner column. So if we redo this step, we see that owner column is overwritten. So to avoid overwritten this column, we can right click and insert copied cells instead. And the same goes for dealing with rows. We can make a duplicate of certain column by selecting it, Ctrl C, right click, insert copied cells. Or if I want to move its position completely, I can select it, Ctrl X, right click for the row I want to insert it above it, and insert cut cells. And as a shortcut to do this inserting, cut and copied cells, we can go for the column that, let's take actually the same example. If I want to make a duplicate of this column just on the left of the owner column, I can first select the B column, Control Space, Control C, and go for the column we want to insert it on the left of it, Control Space and Control Plus. By pressing Control Plus, I can do the same as right click and insert copied cells. And the same goes for removing this column completely and transfer it. I can go for this column, Control X, go for the new position I want to transfer it for, Control Space and Control Plus. And the same actually applied for the rows. If I want to copy or make a duplicate of this row, I can select it using Shift Space and then Control C, go for the new position, Shift Space and Control Plus. And to remove it completely, I can do the same, but now instead of Control C, now I press Control X, go for the new position, Shift Space, Control Plus. And as you can see, we was able to do the same method, but without using the mouse completely. And next topic we want to study is hiding rows and columns. To hide certain columns, first we need to select these columns and right click and select hide. And we notice that the line separating the two columns surrounding the hidden columns is kinda more bolder or thicker. And to unhide the hidden columns, we first need to select the two columns surrounding the hidden columns, right click and select unhide. And for the rows, it's the same. We first need to select the rows we want to hide, right click and select hide. We notice that between the indexes of the two rows surrounding the hidden rows, it's kind of thicker or have different shape. And to unhide these hidden rows, we first need to select the two rows surrounding these hidden rows, right click and unhide. And actually the same can apply without using the mouse. So to hide several columns or a single column, we first need to select any cells in these columns we want to hide, and then we can simply press Ctrl 0. As we can see, the columns was hidden, and to unhide them we select any cells from the two columns surrounding the hidden columns, and we can use the shortcut Alt H O U L, and we can press these buttons separately. And this shortcut might seem to be very long to type, but if you are hiding and unhiding columns more frequently, you can get used to this shortcut and memorize it, and you can eventually use it very fast. And the same goes for hiding and unhiding rows. So if I want to hide a number of rows, first we need to select any cells from the rows we want to hide, and then press Ctrl 9. And to unhide these rows using the keyboard, we first need to select any cells from the rows surrounding the hidden rows and use the shortcut Alt H O U O. And we notice here that these shortcuts, we need to press each button separately to perform them.